What's up, everybody? My name is Moses Johnson, and today I will be talking about hematologic disorders. As you can see, I got on my red shirt since we're going to be talking about the blood and hematology. But before I hop into hematologic disorders, I want to give an overview of hematology. So hematology is the study of blood, blood organs, and disease. Some of its major components includes the erythrocytes, which are your red blood cells that can be found in plasma, your white blood cells, which are your leukocytes, and your thrombocytes, which are your platelets. And they serve major functions. Your blood in your body is very important. It helps as a defense mechanism for invading microorganisms. It helps with the pH balance. It also helps with cellular metabolism. But in particular, I want to talk about one in particular, which is anemia, which is the reduction in the number of red blood cells. And I want to go through the pathophysiology of anemia. So, as we all know, we have blood, and our red blood cells exist within the blood. But, however, red blood cells, even though they are in the blood, which is all around our body, they form and they develop in the bone. The part of the bone that red blood cells are created is in that red spongy cavity in the middle, which is called the bone marrow. The bone marrow gets commands from the kidney to conduct or produce red blood cells. Well, you say, well, how does that happen? Well, the kidney releases a hormone called erythropoietin, which commands the cells, the stem cells, the hemopoietic stem cells in the bone cavity to create red blood cells. And this process is called hemopoiesis. Okay? From there, once the stem cells are given the command, they form premature red blood cells called erythroblasts, which then becomes erythrocytes, okay, which are then red blood cells. Red blood cells are very important because they contain a protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin helps for the body. It's known for its oxygen carrying capacity. The lack of red blood cells or the lack of hemoglobin, you'll feel some of the effects of anemia, which is the decreased number of red blood cells. So there are basically, just different ways that anemia can take place. And one I want to talk about is underproduction, and the other I'm going to talk about is destructive. Okay, and so for underproduction, let's say someone has renal failure. This can result in underproduction of red blood cells. Another could be if a person had a tumor or fibrosis, that would not allow room for red cell production to take place. Let's see, do we have any more examples that I can think of off top? Not at the moment, but let's go to destructive. So let's say we do have healthy red blood cells. Okay, so what's the issue? In this case, it could be an autoimmune attack, which could cause the lack of red blood cells. Even though it's healthy, but we have an autoimmune attack, that would result in having anemia. Also, let's say that there is pathogens such as a virus or bacteria. This can result in the lack of red blood cells, or the offset of anemia, which would be destructive anemia. So that's about it that I can think of so far.
Hey y'all, my name is Nakia Lavender, and it's so good to be back with you guys for another week. Last week I wasn't able to be here due to a conference in New Orleans, and my friend Moses stepped in to basically hang out with y'all and teach you some really cool things about hematology. If you're new to my channel, I just ask you to subscribe below and let's get into it. So hematology is the study of blood, the blood-formed organs, and the blood diseases. It's comprised of two main components, which is the plasma and the form elements known as your erythrocytes, which are your red blood cells, leukocytes, which are white blood cells, and your platelets. So those are some really cool things that Moses went over last week with you. And today we're going to talk about blood coagulation. Basically, blood coagulation is the forming of clots. It's formed by your plasma proteins, and it is designed to bandage injuries within the clots by forming those clots. It's comprised of two components, which is step one, which is the forming of the clot, and step two, which is the breaking down of the clot. And this system must stay in balance in order to maintain homeostasis, and without it, the body can be prone to blood clots or any other problems or issues. So what is a blood clot? Blood clot is just a formation of plasma. This literally forms like a clot to basically protect the body from injury. So during this process, platelets and proteins within the plasma work together to stop the bleeding by forming a clot over the injury. And once that injury is healed, the body will begin to break down and dissolve that clot. So problems occur when coagulations form without the presence of an injury, or if the clot is not dissolved properly. So blood clots are primarily formed or located in the veins in your arteries, which can lead to a lot of problems, such as deep vein thrombosis or pulmonary embolism. Deep vein thrombosis is primarily located in your veins in your leg, but it can also occur in your arms, in your pelvis, or any other large vein in your body. It's common in over 900,000 people in the United States, and each year 100,000 people die. Pulmonary embolisms is when your clot or blood clots detach from the body or detach from that vein and travel throughout your body until it reaches the lung. And once it reaches the lung, it clots that area and becomes wedged, causing a lot of problems. So a lot of treatments for those, if you receive those problems or issues or different disorders, you have to take anticoagulants, which basically prevent clotting from happening, and then thrombolytics, which is something that you take when you also have a blood clot. So it tries to break it down. Also, another treatment, it would be a thrombosectomy, which is just the removal of that clot. So if you have blood clots and you're not sure if you have it, some signs and symptoms you can look out for would be pain in your chest area, or any other part, or like your thighs or something, swelling, if you have shortness of breath, nausea is common with blood clots, and so this is just a few signs and symptoms of blood clotting. And if you are obese, or if you smoke a lot, if you're pregnant, if you don't have a lot of movement, and mobility causes blood clots. Diabetes can lead to blood clots. So if you have some of those things, try to be checked, try to stay active to try to avoid being stationary to stop the formation of those blood clots. Being active and being on the move, working out, can help lessen those rates. Eating healthy can help lessen those rates. So I hope you learned a lot about blood clotting and hematology. We look forward to working with you, and I really like to thank Moses. Shout out to you for doing a great job last week while I was gone, and I will see you next week as we talk about the real HU debate, Hampton versus Howard. But I hope you have a blessed day, and hope you learned a lot about hematology.